energy is 10-10 all the time. It feels so weird to not have seen you yet. Like, this is still lockdown vibes.
Oh, this lockdown is not cute. I've had enough of it now. I'm done with that.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm enjoying it. I'm fully like in my zone. Like, I don't have to talk to people. Do you know what I mean? Getting on with my stuff. It's all good.
It's all good.
Do you know what, Angie, though? Do you know what, yeah? You ain't got to go back into the office. I've got to go back into the office. So I'm like, it's all good and well, but I can't go to the club, but I can go to work. I can't deal with that. I'm either a full lockdown or nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you so much for jumping on, guys. Like, honestly, when I thought about Too Much Sauce this year and whose voices have been the loudest and who to celebrate, you guys just came to mind. So for you guys watching, my name is Swarzy, the founder of Too Much Sauce. Too Much Sauce exists to celebrate Black British creatives who are making history today. So this is why I've got two gorgeous women on the call. We've got Angie's over at me with Bauer. I'm at Kiss. I think you're at Magic, but I think you're across all the stations anyways. We're going to get into your story. And then Kaylee as well, just sitting pretty in this sunshine. Look at this glow as well. Radio producer, DJ. Okay. You've got the 10-10 Zoom flexing as well, so... yeah, radio presenter, DJ, but definitely a voice that's been loud and clear when it comes to talking about racial justice within the radio industry and beyond, sis. You've been amazing. So that is a very small introduction, but Angie, let me start with you, sis. Let me know who you are and what do you do?
I'm Angie. I work at Magic Radio. I'm a video producer, but I guess that's just my day job. Outside of work, I'm also the founder of a group called the Fempire Collective, and I run a brand called Tribal Unicorn Candles. So always keeping busy.
Very busy, very. And same with Kaylee. You know, when I tried to lock her down, I was like, I don't know if she'll be free, man. I don't know what she's gonna. Is she even gonna be in the country? What's going on? So, Kaylee, give us a little bit of the tea. Who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so I'm a radio producer, presenter and DJ. In terms of production, I'm an assistant producer for the Magic Breakfast Show. And then in terms of presenting, I'm Reprezent. I'm BBC WM in Birmingham. And then DJ, I'm just out here doing my thing, chatting to everyone.
Amazing. This year's gallery and exhibition is called Joy and Resilience in 2020. I cannot begin to explain all the left turns that 2020 has taken. And so for this year's Black History Month, I just thought, you know what, let me just stop and pause and one, give thanks, but two, shed light on some amazing people and find out their stories of joy and strength. Because I just think those two attributes, you can't really get very far in the Black experience without someone saying, yeah, but I also found joy here and I was also able to smile over here and I overcame this and I did that. So yeah, just wanted to bring us three together. I think we've really journeyed over the last couple of months, especially within the radio industry, just being honest and open. And of course, since George Floyd's murder and since lockdown and a global pandemic, there has been so much to say. And so my first question, but we'll get into all the stories. The first question is, how has 2020 made you stronger? How has 2020 made you stronger? So, Angie, let me kick off with you. But of course, if you want to share anything over the past couple of months to feed into this answer, feel free. But the first question is, how has 2020 made you stronger?
How has 2020 made me stronger? How can it not make me stronger, first of all, right? If you've got through 2020, then, mate, you really need to look at yourself and think, well, I can do it, you know? I can actually do it. How's it made me stronger, though? It's made me realise that the only thing holding me back is my own fear and doubt, like literally. That is the only thing stopping me from doing anything, except this pandemic right now, because you can only go so far, right? But also just realising that it doesn't matter how many sort of bumps there are in the road, I can overcome it. I can deal with it. Like, I'm going to be completely straight with you guys because I think that's what this needs. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that's experienced this, but as well as like the Black Lives Matter movement, that was tough, that was heavy to sort of have to get through, right? Navigate your way through, right. Inside work, outside of work, family, friends, etc. But then after that, I also lost a friend to suicide. My granddad caught COVID. my uncle died. It's like literally all of those bumps, you're like, I can do this. I can do this. So if this year has taught me anything, it has taught me that you haven't got anything holding you back. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Just do it, trust in yourself, and have the confidence and believe that you'll be amazing at it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, this year's been a journey already, and it's only what, September, October.
We're not even there yet. We're not even at Christmas yet. We've got a couple more months to go.
It's crazy.
Sis, thank you for just your vulnerability there, really. I didn't even know some of those stories, you know, sis. So just to, really say thank you for sharing that. And when you said this conversation needs that, because I don't know who's going to land on this page. I don't know who's going to watch and listen. But I'm sure 2020 has been a year where lots of people have lost people. And so, just hearing you share that, I'm sure someone's going to be, I'm encouraged. I'm sure someone.
I hope so.
Yeah. But I'm coming back to that because there's a lot of resilience going on over there in your corner. But Kaylee, let me come to you, sis. Let me ask the question, how has 2020 made you stronger? What would you say?
I would say that 2020 it's educated me and helped me find a voice and have a lot of courage that I didn't think I could have. And I was thinking about it, like, why is that? And I think a lot of the time when it comes to having your voice or speaking out about things or having conversations, it's a lot harder when you're actually in the room with people, because it's like school, something happens and you got to go in the next day. It's a bit like, oh, I don't know whether I could do that, you know. So I feel like 2020, this whole lockdown, it's been so difficult, but it's just taught me that you can have a voice, it's calm, do what you got to do, and just live your life, and you don't have to rely on other people, just do your thing. And even like with Zoom, with all the new things that have now come about that we're using, I think everyone's just being independent and just doing their thing, and it's incredible. It's incredible. And I'm loving the content that people are putting out as well, because as I said, people are just off their phones doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to come back to you, Angie, as well, and just say, when we're talking about loss and grief, and then Black Lives Matter movement, and that is heavy, how did you juggle and manage that pressure cooker? Because that is a lot to go through, and your job, and a pandemic. Like, how do you cope, cope, but how do you manage spinning all of those plates at once?
Taking myself off mute because, you know, I live on the main road, so I don't want to disturb the discussion. How did I cope? Do you know what? I don't really know how I coped. I've got an amazing fiance next to me, so, well, not right now. But
just run that again. She said fiance, guys. What's happening this year, please, sis?
Let's just say that's one of the amazing things that have happened. So I was talking about the ups and downs, right? That was one of the ups that really kind of brings you out of that dark space. But I've found ways to cope. I've sort of reconnected with the things that I love and that I know make me happy. So, I don't know, listening to music, making candles, chatting with friends and family, like just generally having a good time with myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's probably how I coped. It really helps.
I have to shout out Kaylee at this point, you know, because she doesn't even know what I'm about to say, but just bouncing off of what you said, Ange. Kaylee, I cannot tell you how much you helped me cope within workspace and having conversations around diversity and inclusion. But there was one point where we did a feature together for DJ Mag, and I didn't realize at the time where it was going to go, because I was walking with a friend who lost someone really close to COVID, and we were trying to get through the funeral prep, and I just didn't have the mental capacity to kind of be very present in those hard and heavy conversations. But then when I saw on socials your bravery, your courage, just the way you just kind of took hold of that, I thought, this is why I've needed the two of you so much in this year. And to be fair, we don't chill as much as we should, but this year has definitely brought us together. So I've got to say to you, Kay, like, thank you for being really there and present when, I suppose for me, I'm sure for Angie as well, we just didn't have the strength, or didn't, you know, so much was going on, but you really carried that through. Just want to know from you on that side as well. You were very vocal, very brave. Were you ever scared at one point, or ever shy to kind of say the things unapologetically, but are very, a bit of a sticky one still, like some of the stuff that needed to be said, you said it, but it's empowering to see. But what was it like for you on your end?
I was terrified. Like,
Really?
I was absolutely terrified. Like, even now, I think about it and I'm like, oh, am I blocking some of my blessings? But then it's one of them that I'm now in a world where it's, if that is enough to block you from blessing me with something, then I don't want it anyway. Right. And it's so hard to have that mindset. And even like, as you know, like we all work for Bauer, and even their response has been so incredible that it makes me so proud to work for them. And I'm enjoying my day-to-day job even more knowing that they're listening. Yeah. So it's just, it was so worth it. Even the fear of it was mad. Do you know what I mean? But it's just like, things need to change. Do you know what I mean? And it's been something like these conversations and these things have been in the back of my mind for so long that I'm literally just constantly going, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that. And you get to a point where it's just like, I'm not going to be unhappy because other people don't want to listen. I'm going to make it that loud in your face. You are going to listen, because I know how many other people feel the exact same, but everyone's just too worried, which is understandable, to speak out. Because it is terrifying in like the industry that we all work in. It's so easy to just be dropped because there's always 1,000 other people that also want the same job. But we've got to speak out and we've got to be honest, because it's creating opportunities for other people around us that are next up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and you've been so like instrumental. You know what's mad? Angie and I went to school together, you know. We went to school together. I know. And when I won a competition to get into Kiss, right? So I'm doing the Kiss Chosen one. Couple years later, I'm like, wait, I know that face and I know her voice. Like, what is going on? So to have someone familiar to work with, let alone to kind of, you know, rally together and kind of have these difficult conversations, but knowing that you've got someone in your corner, knowing that you're like, okay, we're going to go in together and do this. But since you've been such a champion at Bauer in terms of Black History Month, in terms of all the conversations, because it's so easy to think this is all happening now in 2020 and kind of not give credit to the years and the catalogue of all of the work that has gone into the conversations we're having now. It's not easy just to pick up, and you have really laid down a lot of that foundation. So does this year feel for you kind of like, I don't know, like does it feel different first of all, or does it feel like I'm really proud that we are where we are? And do you feel credited for the work and the foundation that you've laid to get us here?
I'll start with your last question. Do I feel credited? Most definitely, because I don't work alone. I work with an amazing team of people who, you know, work in various like parts of the business and have all kind of rallied together to make this change. And they are constantly kind of throwing back to, oh, that work you did on Black History Month, that work you did. I'm like, no, we did it together. So I definitely feel credited, which is really, really amazing of them. Do I feel like things have changed? I feel like things have had to change. So I don't know where we would be today if the Black Lives Matter movement didn't happen this year. I don't know where we'd be, quite frankly. I think things would have been a bit quieter, because with this whole lockdown situation, you've got to put resources in certain places, right? And I'm not completely convinced that this would have been a priority. But I'm glad that everything that happened has happened, and it's kind of sped things up. So it's a breath of fresh air. It's a whole load of weight off my shoulders. I'm like, thank God I'm not alone anymore. There's other people talking and kind of standing up for themselves. And we're no longer like a group of 4 people trying to make a change in a big place. We're now a whole load of people all over the business contributing to this one thing, and that feels amazing.
It does. It absolutely does. I think for me as well, just being on call, on Teams call, you know, not even because we can be together in a room given COVID, but to be on a call together. And like you say, Kaylee, to know that people are listening. And I think one of the most powerful moments for me was not code switching in one of the meetings and just hearing like, okay, we lack Black representation at the top level. There's Black people missing in positions of power, but on socials and front facing, we're there, and so it looks as though everything is great, but actually there's a lot of work to do behind the scenes. And I don't think we should name names, but there was one girl who produces me she produces me anyway, but in this particular lockdown, you know, sometimes, if you don't have a good producer behind you, you're really out here trying to just messy, and she just kind of pulled everything together. And on one call, she was breaking down white privilege to other white people. And for me, I'd never heard anyone do that. But two, I'd never felt the relief of not having to do that work myself, because someone had been listening and someone jumped in where everyone expected me to say something or you to say something. And when a white girl came in and was like, no, this is actually what she means, or this is what we need to think about, I said, okay, this is really shifting, really shifting. So before we move over to Joy, Kaylee, let me jump to you. Just in terms of like where we are now, and I think, Angie, you make a good point. Without the Black Lives Matter movement, without that sparking, I think we would have got to certain places, but we wouldn't have got it to the pace that we were at now. So Kaylee, for you, any moment that you just had of like, oh my gosh, this is happening, this is empowering, any moment for you? Because there's been loads, but I wonder if there was a highlight that's happened this year, what would it be?
Mine would probably be the same as you, just being on the meeting and having your voice just heard and being able to say. And I think you get to a situation where like you can say things, but you're still on eggshells, and to be able to speak out. And that moment that I realised I'm not on eggshells anymore. I'm really like, I'm doing this, I'm saying it how I feel, and I'm not scared. And that for me, when I had that feeling, and that's why now I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm made of iron, because I just know I can walk and I can say how I feel, and if my own bosses will listen, then no one in this world could tell me nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just that feeling of knowing that I can say how I feel and everyone's gonna listen. It's empowering. It's empowering.
Imagine having that confidence years ago, like when your career started though. Imagine like what that would have changed.
Yeah, but do you know what, Angie, this is the maddest thing though, because I remember even like last year when you was coming to me about Black History Month, and I was just saying like, I don't know what to say, because I want us to celebrate it, but will all my ideas be shut down? Is that I'm not even going to bother investing in it? And you was like, no, girl, come on, like what are we doing for Black History Month? What are we doing? And I was just there like, I don't know, because I didn't want to suggest anything, because I didn't want the hurt of it being shut down and saying, no, we're not going to do anything on a breakfast show, we're not going to do, because it's too mainstream. And don't get me wrong, like we've done stuff, but it was mainly Angie that organised it, because I was just too scared to even suggest anything. And a year on, I'm just there like, no, we're doing this. This is what we're doing, because it's a courage that within this year has just come from nowhere. It's come from nowhere. But I say it's come from nowhere, it's definitely come from the Black Lives Matter movement, because again, I think now it's a realisation of how things were, and we all knew, but we chose not to speak out because we were too scared to, which is completely understandable. So I'm just so glad that for me, starting out, I've been doing my thing, but still like fully starting out my career, like it's starting to go up and up. I'm glad that I feel this way now, because if this is who I am, so if you're taking me to do anything, this is the person you're going to get. Yeah. I'm not going to be quiet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So many highlights. What about for you, and any highlight in particular for this year? There's been loads, but is there a moment for you that you think, especially what Kaylee just said, you know, like you for us have been someone who is like, and I feel shook to do this, you know, but like, what do you think about this? Or what if we were to do this? How would we package it? And I think having you, I just want you to know how much of a role you've played for so many of us.
Let me cry.
No, you need to hear this. You need to hear it. Like, you've just been a real pillar for a lot of us. Black and white colleagues, do you know what I mean? I think as well, there's been times where you're like, oh, Ange, can I say this? And you're like, fam, I'm not the barrier of whether or not to know. But the fact that people feel confident and comfortable enough to approach you says a lot about your character. And so, yeah, just any highlight or a moment for you this year in the couple last months that you've just thought, wow, aren't things changing?
I think a total highlight for me is, and this is a little bit, it's funny, but it's not funny in the same way. Everyone started emailing their bosses and telling them what they thought about themselves. Like, I'm going to tell you about yourself today. Like, whoa, okay, guys, let's calm it down a bit. Let's calm it down. We all want our jobs at the end of this. But I think that was a highlight for me, because I was just kind of sitting, watching waves of confidence kind of light up inside of people, just like, this is what I've wanted to say to this person for ages, and I'm gonna say it to them. Like, say what you've got to say. It was just so heartwarming to see that side of it. Everything else kind of paled in comparison to seeing other people stand up for themselves.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially when I think one of the most empowering things for this year is to be heard. Not just to be listened to, but to be heard and not interrupted, not butted in. And when you do share what your experience is, no one is trying to justify it or try to show you an alternative way of, maybe they meant it like this. People are like, oh, actually, yeah, I can see the ignorance in that, and I hold my hands up to that. And I think I don't know what's very different about this year, but this theme of allyship and people saying, no, I need to do something. You know what, to be honest, I didn't expect that to come from the George Floyd incident. You know, I expected a wave of something, and maybe it's down to the fact that we're all at home and we're on socials. But genuinely, there has been something in my white friends to be like, no, I need to do better here. I'm ignorant in this area and I want to learn. And of course, we hope and pray that will continue once the hype dies down. But genuinely, I did feel like, oh, wow, actually, this is a very different time. It feels like any other moment would have happened, but this is special. So yeah, definitely lots of highlights, which leads me to joy then. So my second question for this year's exhibition is, where has your joy come from? And I think this is important because I just think Black people, we're resilient in and of ourselves. Like, that's a given. But then joy, like, where does that come from in a pandemic, in suffering with loss or jobs or Black Lives Matter movement? So, and it doesn't need to be work related. You could be doing something in your own time. You could be a plant mum. I know plant mums have boomed in a good old 2020. So yeah, just knowing from you, where has your joy come from, your smile? How have you kept that? Let me start with you, Kay.
You know what? Two things. I think the first thing is, I've never been able to spend this much time with my family in so long. Like, as everyone knows, like, I moved to London when I just turned 18. So for the past 4 years, I've just been in London, not really present within my family. It's just work. And to be able to, I come back, as soon as the lockdown was announced, I said, no, sis, I ain't staying in London. I'm going back for my mum's food. I'm gone. So I spent the whole of lockdown at home with my family. And just to be able to do that and spend months just with them reconnecting was just such an amazing feeling. It was just so brilliant. And then even like work-wise, I think with technology now, you can speak to anyone whenever. I've never felt like I've connected with so many people despite being in the lockdown. You know what I mean? The amount of Zoom calls that I've been on, whether it's for interviews, whether it's for podcasts, whether it's just to chat business for no reason. Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of the time when you say, oh yeah, let's meet up for lunch, let's do this, let's do that, it's always prolonged because of life's just going on too fast, too many things are going on, but we've all really had to pause, and the only social thing that we've had is on Zoom. And then it's just been so, and again, like, coming back to the family thing, just to make my family play Monopoly, you know, I've been missing that for so long, just being able to play Monopoly. You know what I mean? Playing rounders in a park. I ain't been parked for time before this lockdown, but I'm going to the park to play rounders. It's just so nice. Bike rides. Kaylee doing bike rides. I've been doing it this year. So all these things that we all knew we should have done, we haven't been doing for years. So you just pause and just break. And even like I was on furlough, that time with my family, I never knew that I needed it so much. And that's probably why I felt so revitalized and powerful and able to do anything, because of when you have the armor of your family around you, it's a different feeling. So I'm just so grateful that with everything that I've had so much time to be around my loved ones, to be honest.
Yeah, and I really love what you said, like your joy has fed into your resilience. Like having the joy of your family has let you like really put on that armor and be strong when you go into the workplace. And then probably when you shut the laptop, you're like, okay, I'm at home, I'm with good people.
Exactly.
You land up.
Exactly. Like even when I sent that email, when I was sending it out to everyone and I posted it, like, just to come downstairs and my mum be like, oh, Kaylee, you're really doing this. Go on, girl. Like, let's eat some chicken now. And that for me, it made me feel, even though I was so scared, just that comfort of having my mum. But I know for a fact that if it weren't on a lockdown and I was in London and I felt on my own, I had to go into her office the next day, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have had the courage. I wouldn't have done it. So it's just built a different woman. I feel like a new woman.
Yeah. Oh, sis. Oh, there is a lot to say about that, actually. Would we be as brave and courageous outside of a lockdown when dealing with some really heavy topics at work? Like that, I didn't even, my mind hadn't gone there yet. Do you know what I mean? And so, yeah, knowing that your joy is fed into your resilience, that is huge, absolutely huge. What about for yourself, Ange? Where's your joy come from this year? Yeah, let us know, sis.
That's actually really, it's not a hard question. I think I might have like already touched on it. Like my joy has come from sort of reconnecting with the things that I haven't done for a while. So getting crafty, spending more time with my other half. Like imagine you wake up, you go to work, you come back, you go to sleep. Like that's it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let the police. You come to work, you come back home from work, and that's it. That's literally your day. So for me, spending more time with him has been really, really amazing. It's different. Like we're getting to know each other all over again. It's like, yo, that's what annoyed me about you. I completely forgot. And then also, again, just having more time to do the things that I've always wanted to do outside of work, or that hour, that 2 hours that I'm gaining back from commuting. So I wake up every morning and I work out. I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Who is this actual person? But it makes you feel so good and it sets up your day. And that is literally what is bringing me joy. Just the little things, being able to do the little things and not rush around, and just like a sense of calm. That's all I've wanted in my life.
So true, man. All the things that you think, I'll get round to that. I think the time and the brain space to have it in lockdown has been, and so true what you say, Kay, as well. Like you can have all of these big chats at work or whatever, but then sometimes, do you want to start half an hour on Zoom just to declutter my head and just, have that where you're not thinking, the commute from work is long and then I've got to do this and do that. So yeah, there's definitely been good things to come out of 2020 and things that we hope will continue and last. I hope that Rounders game will keep on going, and the Monopoly and the workouts and everything will keep going. That's my 2 questions really, but just if you guys want to share anything else, doesn't have to be about joy or resilience, but yeah, just being a Black British creative in 2020. I know that it's going to go on the Roundhouse site. Shouts to the Roundhouse. I love you guys, like, just to give us a platform to share, and everything over at Too Much Sauce as well with other creatives. You've all got different stories. It's been amazing to say to people, what's made you stronger? Where have you found your joy? People have been living all kinds of lives in the background, but then bringing their smile to a work meeting or Zoom, and you just think, wow, I didn't know you were going through that, and yet you've persevered and endured that, and it's just incredible. So yeah, kind of just any closing words really from you guys for any creatives listening, or just Black people listening about joy and resilience. Just want to let you guys, if you have any closing words.
Ooh.
One thing that I've really found, being on like the Black business side of things, found interesting, is the support that Black businesses have gained this year.
Right.
Like I'll speak for myself, but like my sales went up like 200%, and I know I'm not the only Black business that happened to.
Yeah.
So although like lots of negatives came from the Black Lives Matter movement, also a lot of positives came from, and that's really lovely to see. Like also kind of just shining a light on the businesses that we need to be shopping at ourselves and supporting. It kind of just reminds you, like, I don't need to go to I don't know, H&M to get that. I can get it from my sis over there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's been really nice, and kind of reminding me to shop Black and support Black businesses and stuff like that.
Especially with Black Pound Day as well. Was that a huge contributor to that 200%
That was massive.
rise? Wow.
That was massive, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, amen, man. That's huge. Absolutely huge. Kaylee, what about yourself? Any closing words, sis? Give us your gems.
I would just say, just make sure you're looking after yourself. Like, I think that's the main thing. I think everything going on in the world, whether it be like the stress of Black Lives Matter movement, like because of it, I think it's had a lot of stress on people emotionally, because of, even for the fact of realization. I think again, it's things that we know, but the realization and the shock factor of everything that's going on, it can be hard. And then with COVID, it's just, everything's just been a very hard year, but you just have to look after yourself. That's the main thing. Sleep, have water, like, write your feelings down in your notes, look in the mirror, say, sis, you are the one. And just always remember, just take time out for yourself, because if you don't and you let yourself be run down, then boy, you're not going to be able to do anything. So yeah, look after yourself, keep it cute always, and be happy.
Keep it cute always. Those are my closing words for this one. Guys, thank you so much. You know, to think that we've actually made history this year, in the sense that our voices have been loud and clear and have been noted. And, you know, to think that this time next year, when we're thinking around, how do Black people manage in white spaces, how those conversations, when we come back, 2020 is the marker. Do you know what I mean? If we want to measure any sort of change that happened from this year on, we've actually got 2020 in the diary to be like, let's look back and see how far we've come, and it will be telling how far we have come, if not much has changed since this year as well. So your joy and your resilience keeps my joy and resilience going. So thank you so much for your time. This is Too Much Sauce, an exhibition this year to celebrate Black British creatives, their joy and their resilience. You can head over to the Roundhouse page and also to Too Much Sauce UK on the socials and catch this interview there. See you soon. Bye.